Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here for wearechange.org, and right now we are going to break down the testimony of former FBI Director James Comey. Now let's get a few things out of the way before we reveal what everybody seems to be missing. Number one, Mr. Comey was asked whether or not he was directed by the president to end the investigation into Flynn.
I hope you can let this go. Now, those are his exact words. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you wrote them here and you put them in quotes?
Correct.
Okay. He did not direct you to let it go.
Not in his words, no.
He did not order you to let it go.
Again, those words are not an order.
No. You may have taken it as a direction, but that's not what he said.
Correct.
He said, I hope.
Those are exact words, okay. Correct.
You don't know of anyone that's ever been charged for hoping something. Is that a fair statement?
I don't as I sit here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
He also addressed the fact that the president was never under investigation for collusion with Russia.
That while you were director, the President of the United States was not under investigation. Is that a fair statement?
That's correct.
All right. So that's a fact that we can rely on at this
Yes,
point.
sir.
Okay.
Comey was also asked to address an article from the New York Post that claimed that there was collusion between the Trump campaign and Russian officials. Of course, Comey had to deny that any of the information in the article was correct, because once again, there has been no evidence presented of this collusion.
And the New York Times wrote an article that suggested that the Trump campaign was colluding with the Russians. You remember reading that article when it first came out?
I do. It was about allegedly extensive electronic surveillance.
Correct. That report by the New York Times was not true. Is that a fair statement?
In the main, it was not true.
So Comey has confirmed that Trump was never under investigation and that he never directed him to end the investigation into Flynn. We also know that Comey knew that the information in that New York Post article about collusion with Russia was completely false. Despite all this information, Comey still insists that Russia interfered with our election.
There should be no fuzz on this whatsoever. The Russians interfered in our election during the 2016 cycle. They did it with purpose, they did it with sophistication, they did it with overwhelming technical efforts, and it was an active measures campaign driven from the top of that government. There is no fuzz on that. It is a high confidence judgment of the entire intelligence community.
Notice Comey never mentions hacking or espionage of any sort. Well, that's because he wants to keep the definition broad. After all, the public document that we got to see showed that Russia had interfered with our elections simply by having the network RT. And oddly enough, they cited Abby Martin's program that was gone long before the election of Donald Trump. So what's everybody missing? Well, Comey was asked why he took notes after meeting with the president for the first time. After all, Comey had met with two other presidents on several different occasions and never took any notes at all.
What was it about that very first meeting that made you write a memo when you had not done that with two previous presidents?
As I said, a combination of things. A gut feeling is an important overlay on but the circumstances that I was alone, the subject matter, and the nature of the person that I was interacting with, and my read of that person.
So Comey has now come out and said he had a gut feeling because of the nature of the person he was with. But that's not the most telling part.
Really just a gut feel laying on top of all of that, it's going to be important to protect this organization that I make records of this.
You see, Comey felt after meeting with Mr. Trump that the entire organization, the FBI itself, was at risk. Now I find this part fascinating because who's been put in charge of this new internal investigation into Russian collusion with the Trump campaign and them interfering with elections? Robert Mueller, the man who helped cover up 9/11. He silenced Robert Wright amongst other whistleblowers within the FBI on how the money moved. And to this day, there are 80,000 classified documents. Yes, that's right, folks. 80,000 documents more than 16 years later that the public has yet to see regarding 9/11. There's still been no tangible evidence that Russia interfered anyway in our elections. and I think that was made apparent today by Mr. Comey's testimony. If you like this video and you want to see more, please consider donating to wearechange.org. It's your donations that make reports like this possible.